Alrighty, well, here we are. Back once again with this stupid game full of stupid people who do stupid things, a lot of which seems to be murder. And I guess it's time to continue rising from the ashes. Good Lord, I really had hoped to be done with this already. But okay. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. Woohoo. Mr. Lost as Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Oh no! How could they? Gasp! I am appalled. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Jesus Christ, he's even such a smug son of a bitch. Even when getting this kind of horrible news, he takes a fucking bow. What a jackass. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, see, even the judge didn't expect that level of jackassery. Normally, this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but instead I guess we'll let him call fifth a witness? Or maybe call third a witness? I do not know. Regardless. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Lost Your Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain, Your Honor. ... exclamation mark. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? It would be something I am known for doing, of course. I didn't say that! It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and, ... Very well, Your Honor. Technically, this trial should have ended earlier. I just gave in to my base instincts and my ego after Phoenix provoked me into calling forth Ema Skye as a witness and basically flipping off my boss and the chief of police. However, I will point out to the court, once again, that Lana Skye technically fired this incompetent buffoon Phoenix Wright and is supposed to be representing herself now. Ergo, she has already admitted that she has done this crime. And you should give her a guilty verdict regardless. Okay, I have a solution. A solution? Well, technically, according to chemistry, alcohol is in fact a solution. That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. Oh ho! So I finally get to do something that I should have been allowed to do right from the frickin' start of this trial. In fact, pretty much during every trial, I would say. About damn it, like, I don't understand why the defense can't call witnesses in every trial. Like, when Larry Butts came in, he butzed into the previous trial, it had to be Von Karma who called him as a witness. It couldn't be me. But okay, apparently I'm going to call forth all further witnesses. Hooray. What the hell do you mean there's no precedent for what you're proposing? Judge, what the fuck kind of system do you have where a defense attorney can't bring forth any witnesses? I'm giving you another penalty. What? But there is no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any quote-unquote deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? I say it's about fucking time and this goddamn justice system is broken if there's no precedent for defense attorneys calling witnesses. I agree with you, Phoenix. It's unfucking believable that it took this long for a defense attorney to actually be allowed to call a witness. Now, forget about that. It's unbelievable that I didn't have the opportunity to call any witnesses before. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Smug jackass though he may be, it's about damn time defense attorneys get to do something like this. Then it's settled. The, defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, ... exclamation mark. You do realize this is your last chance, despite all of the bumbling incompetence and the fact that I am now mired in controversy and scandal. You're still the one at the end of your rope. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. Officer Mike Meekins. Jake Marshall. Bruce Goodman. The real murderer of Bruce Goodman was in fact Bruce Goodman the whole time. I guess that would rule it a suicide. But okay, look, the game is real, and by the way, I would also like to point out once again that the game is still covering up for Lost as Edgeworth, because he's not on this list either. But I do know what we must do here. We must call Damon Gant. Listen. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? ... As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse, since he spent most of that recess that I wasn't hanging out with you crumb bums, chewing me out for my incompetence. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way, considering the fact that he outranks me. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Oh, hello. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? After all, the last several times I told you you may come to regret something, you did in fact come to regret it. Your name and occupation. Why is he still getting to ask the questions? This is my witness. You know what? He's getting a hard time, so I just don't give a damn. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Well, I'm okay with that. After all, I used to be a very good athlete back in the day. But please, Mr. Gant. ... Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? And that is very clearly what happened. Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. ... Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. Probably the latter, because you live in this universe. ... You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal, not the least of which would be about the 10 guns that I have on my person right at this very moment. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. And quite frankly, I really don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. I'm just here to continue to obfuscate until you accuse Lana Skye of murder and get her the guilty verdict. Then, my conscience for killing Neil Marshall all those years ago will be clear. Huzzah! Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of my time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. The SL9 incident. Oh dear. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene, shall we say. As you can see, I had nothing to do with this forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor, unconscious. How the heck did he get unconscious? When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. On what? I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. I don't think so. I failed to see how Joe Dark would have been unconscious in that scenario. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Probably with nothing. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. Press. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Where was the defendant, Lana Skye, also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. So where the heck was she? To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. Well, this is a very vague statement. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got, quote-unquote, Lucky! What's this about a power? You dumbass. We heard about this already. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that! The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, I don't mean literally zapped. Probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also... Oh, wait, that's my line. Dark... I say this as if all these lines weren't my lines. That's Phoenix's line, not Gant's line. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Somehow. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Ema. Lana was cradling Ema in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. ... exclamation mark. Apparently, she had already, quote-unquote, arranged the crime scene. Push. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means... you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor? Yes. ... Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with that forgery. I do not want to do that. See, I find it difficult to believe that you had nothing to do with the forgery when you had bits of evidence in your safe. Evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department, unregistered evidence, blah blah blah. Is that really all there is to this? Why do I feel like there should be more to this book? Because it's a frickin' book and it's just 2 rules. So again, here's my lines of thought. Right? Literally half of this list was found in Gant's desk. The half with the actual Stabicus part of the drawing. And then there was this, which was also found in his desk, or in his safe. We haven't officially declared him as 7777777, so that's not useful. Also, we're not even talking about that at this point in time. Man, oh man. I need to hit him with something. I'm almost positive that I do. And I don't have the little goblins in my head telling me what to do or what not to do, which I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. But I like Phoenix said, gotta hit him hard, gotta hit him fast. If I just press, and I don't have evidence. I'm going to go with my instinct here. I'm going to present the evidence list that was found. Because it's, again, half of this list was found in Gant's desk. Is part of the description. This is probably going to get me a penalty. But at least I'm hoping you guys can all see where my brain is at on this one. Because again, I don't think just pressing here is the way to go. Let's try that. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself! Several pieces of evidence were Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. That's the list Ema Skye drew her picture on. This was discovered in your desk. ... Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant. Okay, so it was technically both that I could have used. I was actually right. And I didn't want to go with the cloth. Because technically that hasn't been introduced as anything yet. Anyway, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Ho! Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. No, I kick his ass. On the other hand, you can still very clearly state that Losses Edgeworth planted that stuff in your... Except I will tell you that I saw firsthand you were messing around with that list. So you knew it was there. Anyway, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Ah, I see what he's going to do. He's going to say, I planted that shit there. Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you, quote-unquote, found this evidence. ... exclamation mark. Yep, he's a slippery bastard. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, righto? Objection. However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying the work. Oh, poor Gumshoe. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My! Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. After all, when you add 2 and 2 together, you're supposed to get 22. But I think I know where he's going with this. He's going to say that once he discovered that the evidence was... well, he's either going to say Lana did it, which, whatever, but... Or he's going to say that once he discovered that the evidence, that the crime scene had been altered, he was an accessory after the fact. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright, yes, Your Honor, when investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. You can count on that. Oh boy. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Hello, Luna! Today is, well, you know. Alright, Udgy, in return, though. I know. That place, right? What's been happening is Losses Edgeworth has lost his right to call witnesses, so I decided to take the bull by the horns, call Damon Gant in. Now Damon Gant is blaming me and is accusing me of forging evidence by planting shit in his safe, which I guess any old idiot... I guess that is the advantage of having a combination that's so damn obvious, is he can technically say any old idiot could come in off the street and break into a safe and plant something in there. That's what's been happening. I seem to be very goblinless at the moment, which is a little sad, but oh well. I know, that place, right? The combo was 7777777. 7 times, because that's his police ID number, apparently. What are these guys? Telepathic? Alright. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'ma press you on that. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? Oh my god, you dumbass, he goaded you into this nonsense. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove that you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy, not even Red White. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. Can I? Oh no, he's talking about when they were discovered in the... Maybe? What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. Objection. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list that you couldn't actually read, and the only thing you can see in the court record is that terrible drawing. Which is actually true. Like, if I check the evidence list, I can't even flip this paper over. Anyway, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Objection. Yeah, I bet they were discovered after, but like on... Yeah, no, it's very true. Like, he hid that until the day after Dark's trial, where he started blackmailing Lana. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. What? The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, righto. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. No reason, you say. None whatsoever. Including the fact that the particular case that you solved managed to get your promotion to chief of police all but secured. I'm going to press you on that. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Hello, Tighty Bulbasaur, because I'm innocent. What the that exclamation mark? Remember, who was it that murdered Neil? You? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Ema Skye, or so we are supposed to believe. ... Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. I don't know where Dawning is today, and it's kind of unnerving. So, allegedly, right, if we go back to... I gotta be careful not to actually present anything here, but if we go back to the drawing, right, if we check this, right, the big deal about this drawing and why it presented a contradiction is that the knife is rectangular instead of triangular, which I tried to say is just because it was a drawing done by a little kid, and it was basically just supposed to be something that, you know, something that was just a quick sketch. So, you know, she might have just drawn the rectangle in there to represent a knife, but the shape of the thing itself. But no, what it actually meant is that the knife that was being held was broken already. It couldn't have been Dark's knife because allegedly Neil was killed with one stab wound, and the knife tip wouldn't have broken off beforehand because it was found in his body. So that proved that the person who was holding the knife over the other person was Neil Marshall holding the knife over Joe Dark. Then Emma pushed him, right? Because all she saw was one guy holding a knife over the other guy. She thought that the guy she was pushing was Joe Dark. So she pushed him, and he fell against the wall in Gant's office and got impaled by a suit of armor, allegedly. And then that jar, right, the unstable jar, which is the thing that kind of looks like the blue badger over there, right, that kind of flew through the air and crashed when the shove happened, allegedly. Now, here's the problem, right? We had the nice and tidy message on the jar that someone allegedly tried to wipe away. Well, the knife that we see in that is the knife from the old King of the Prosecutor's trophy, right? It used to have a shield and a knife on it. Now it's only got the shield because the knife was used as a weapon in this incident. Right, so that's what Neil Marshall was using. That's what's being held over here. But here, again, here's where my line of thought is, and I mentioned this last week. right? That nice and tidy Ema message scrawled on the jar could not have been written by Neil Marshall after he was shoved, because the jar was already broken. Now, I don't know how the fuck we're gonna get there, and I am extremely gun shy after a couple of streams ago when I was like 5 steps ahead and the game kept penalizing me for it. But that's where I know we're going, right? That's how we're gonna skewer Gant. Because there's no way in hell Neil could have written that message on a shattered jar. Anyway, I am just going to press here, speaking of me being gun-shy. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? Oh, I know there's something important about the way the jar looks in the photo. The jar is the blue badger. That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh... The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. ... Ho, ho, ho! I am Santa Claus now! Oh, that's a good one. I am jolly old Saint Nick. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of the SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Lost as Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Gah, be careful when pointing that finger, or you might end up being the one pointed at. Or you might have that finger shoved up your own nose. Or other places that may be slightly uncomfortable. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. The only person I give a damn about is myself. Hello, KR. And I don't know if he's a Yu-Gi-Oh villain, but he is an Ace Attorney villain. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. See, I told you. ... There, it's out in the open now. Udgy, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. So what was in it for him? Obviously, this is where I need to push something. So what was in it for him by being Lana's accomplice? Oh, good. I said it earlier. Well, always remember, Luna, I never actually listen when I'm talking. Let's see. Perpetrator Joe Dark, crime serial murderer, sentence death. I honestly don't remember what I said earlier, which kinda sucks, but is also not very surprising. I mean, yes, his revised testimony absolutely screams blackmail. He was in fact blackmailing Lana. This I know. I just don't know how to prove that with the stuff that I have. Maybe I just press him. But yeah, no, I am fully aware that he was using this to blackmail Lana over the years. Absolutely. And I think I've said that a few times before, too. I'm gonna press and see where that goes. I know I need to present, but nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again, because I am a giant asshole. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho, ho, ho! I am Santa Claus once again, and that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped something out? Point out accomplice. What does it mean, point out accomplice? Like, I know who his accomplice is. True, you might not help anyone out for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. ... Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. The cloth with Emma's fingerprints seems like it would fit. I disagree. I don't see the relevance in this case yet. Very well, then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? No shit, it was Lana! Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? ... I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Ema Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. ... But how would he profit from it? Because he's got blackmail material on the chief prosecutor! He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh my fucking god, Judge, way to miss the goddamn point. Do I need to use sock puppets to explain this to you? Look, I will get a puppet, I will put it on my hand, and I will tell you what this... Like, I will act this out in a little puppet show so you understand what this means. This is another fucking penalty for you. I mean, look, I get it. The judge and the Chief Gant are personal friends. I understand. But, like, this is being deliberately obtuse. Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone... No fucking shit, Your Honor. God damn it. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive? to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. I'm going to lobotomize that right out of you after we're done here. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. ... Unless... That is also what is happening in this incident. This incident? Which one? Okay, this one I'll give you a pass on, because Losses Edgeworth was very vague. This incident meaning the Goodman murder. Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Look at that look that those two are sharing. You can't tell me that they won't end up together after this trial is done. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue, or I will cut it right out of your mouth. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What is this nonsense? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Not if I can help it, Your Honor. This is an affront to the highest-ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! Nothing is impossible, Your Honor. ... Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Losses Edgeworth said in easier-to-understand language. The judge really does... Look, the judge should get Angel Star back in here. Then we can take all the orders we want. Is what Mr. Losses Edgeworth said in easier-to-understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright! Exclamation mark. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question indeed. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. All right then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it'd better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Well, shit. What the fuck am I supposed to do here? No. We're talking about the murder of Detective Goodman. But it is important to note that the quote-unquote halberd, which was actually just a knife, was removed at Chief Gant's request. The knife, the parking stub, the Blue Badger! It's always the Blue... No, it's never the Blue Badger. The Blue Badger is innocent. Maybe it's the switchblade knife. I feel like it's the switchblade knife. Death by radiation, yes, of course. The other thing that it could possibly be is the ID card record, but we haven't technically tied him in as 7777777 yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the... because this has to do specifically with the murder of Detective Goodman. Not anything related to the past SL9 incident. So, I'm going to say it's probably the switchblade knife. And if I'm wrong, we'll probably see some funny dialogue. ... Well, Chief, so long as Righto here is tossing out things regardless of their relevance, mind if I toss something too, Udgy? This shoe should do nicely. I'll chuck it right at you. Always were quite the joker, weren't you? Oops. Looks like I got it wrong. Don't oops me. Maybe this boot to the head will knock some sense into you. I know it's hard, with all that's gone on during this trial. But try to think back to what happened in the evidence room 4 days ago. Now that he mentions it, we did find something during yesterday's investigation. Did we? Something that proves Gant entered that room. Looks like he wants another one of your boots, Udgy. ... I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it'd better be good. I mean, what we found yesterday... like, the evidence from yesterday is Neil's autopsy report, the Gant team picture, the evidence list, the piece of cloth, which I'm not sure is relevant yet, and the evidence law, which we technically didn't find until today. Also, what the hell is that on the cover of the book? Oh, man. Is it something in this video? I don't think it would be. I mean, it's not Goodman's ID, no. And I don't think it's the ID report. Because again, if we look at the ID numbers, also hi Dawning, if we look at that, we haven't proven yet that he's 7777777 yet. It's not a bloody fingerprint. Also, Dawning, are you going to be joining me in voice chat, or am I here on my own? We're trying to prove that Gant had something to do... No, we don't have Gant's prints on anything. Gant was wearing gloves, that's the whole point. We're trying to prove that he had something to do with Goodman's murder. I thought for sure the switchblade knife would have done it. But either I'm going to admit that I broke into Gant's safe, which he's already said that he's pressing charges on and would probably not be great. You've not figured out how to speak again. Ooh, that's not good. That's very not good. I mean, again, we haven't specifically said that he's 7777777 yet. I mean, that just sounds really bad, Dawning. I'm sorry that you're going through that. To be fair, though, considering how my throat's still technically hurting a little bit, I could probably stand to forget how to speak every once in a while. It's not the glove. I don't think it's the glove. I am very confused. I mean, again, if it wasn't the switchblade knife, maybe it is the ID card report. I'm gonna try it. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. Exclamation mark. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's... Good, so I am in fact admitting to breaking into Chief Gant's safe. Good fucking work, Phoenix. The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits. You don't mean. The Chief is a fucking moron. And uses the code 7777777. But yeah, no, he is literally admitting to breaking into the Chief of Police's safe. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Why the heck does he look mad? Literally, arrest Phoenix right now for breaking into your safe. Which, by the way, Chief, you already knew he did. I see that eyebrow twitch. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? ... Nothing! The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand that Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Yes, Stoppamy is going to summon Exodia. You can't use illegally obtained evidence. Well, technically speaking, technically speaking, Dawning, the laws of the evidence laws don't say that the evidence has to be obtained legally. Right? All it says is no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department, and then unregistered evidence presented at must be relevant to the case on trial. It doesn't say that it has to be obtained legally. Remember that this is a stupid justice system where normally defense attorneys can't even summon witnesses. Right? Like, this is a one-time thing. Because bullshit. Anyway, and I will demand that Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. ... Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do at the evidence room. Yeah, please do not shit in the evidence room. Unless it's evidence of a different crime. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. That is why the lockers smell. Objection. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Skye's guilt. Objection! No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. Who really murdered Detective Goodman? If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. It's not the victim's memo. That's a solid argument, KR. That is a very solid argument. I might be Detective Goodman's note, because it is labeled with the date. But it doesn't prove that he met with the chief. Can only be submitted to the chief of police. I'm guessing, well, it's technically half written, right? It might be this. I'm gonna try it. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or, to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Hey, I was right. It's the badge. It proves that he's a lawyer and thus... Yes, I can't wait for that to actually be something that I have to present in court as evidence. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of that report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. ... Exactly. But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Objection. Sorry, but that's not possible. Exclamation mark! According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Chief Gant, you didn't. The murderer was most likely a spur of the moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. Objection! You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking... In your car, you fucking moron! How do you think it got there? How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. Lost his entered... Are you forgetting that it was literally in your fucking car that the body was found, and you traveled from the police department to the prosecutor's office? At the chief's request? And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Except, no, we knew this already. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal, not to mention one extremely gullible and idiotic prosecutor. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a... Yes, I know exactly what clue it is. It's the goddamn screwdriver. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Something that is completely and totally unrelated to the case. Ta-da! This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. He screwdrivered it into oblivion. Yes, Superman is becoming adjacent to something relevant. What's that? A screwdriver. But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Lost is Edgeworth. Think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. I can't believe he forgot that the body was discovered in his own fucking car. He is an idiot among idiots. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Loss's Edgeworth. How the fuck did he forget that? Memory problems run rampant in the courtroom, yes. Courtroom single brain cell currently being held by Phoenix Wright. Yes, of course. How long before he relinquishes it? Who knows? I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved. No fucking shit, the body was moved by that car. Oigewalt. Detective Goodman's body. We fucking knew this from the first day! Well, okay, fine. Maybe you all didn't, but I sure as hell did. He wasn't stabbed and then she tried to stuff the body in the trunk. The body was already in the trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Loss's Edgeworth's car. Technically, Luna, I will give them a tiny bit of credit. Technically speaking, what we established on day one was that the body was found in the car. It was assumed that Lana stabbed him in the prosecutor's office parking lot after he got there God knows why or how. And then stabbed him and then tried to stuff him in the trunk. So technically, I guess we didn't establish until just this very moment that, no, it wasn't that the body was discovered in the prosecutor because Lana stabbed him and stuffed him there. It's because the body was stuffed in there and transported there from the police office. Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Loss's Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? Specifically one that I am very familiar with because I closed that case. And managed to get rid of your other blackmailer, Red White, while you're at it, so you're fucking welcome. And yes, that's kind of stupid, but of course it is Ace Attorney and everyone is fucking incompetent. There's only one plausible explanation to transport the body to your accomplice, Ms. Lana Skye. This is going far smoother than I thought it would. Order, 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 what's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Well, this judge ain't biased in the slightest. Think back to the photograph Ms. Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. I know they're old friends, Dawning. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe. Your time is up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. Objection, but the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier. The police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Not the least of which are the 10 guns I have on my person at this very moment. Weapons, like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. You'll get the early bird special to the prison cafeteria. Yes, he will eventually. There are certain risks to be considered. Objection! So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy! Exclamation mark. I stab Bill Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. How about plastic proof? Or wood proof? Maybe I can get steel proof? Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Ms. Skye dispose of his body. Get me concrete and something vaguely resembling proof. Concrete. I technically don't have anything concrete yet. Also, hi, Dien, and happy birthday to you. Oh, good lord. Yes, throw a brick. Well, a brick isn't necessarily concrete. I could throw a cinder block at him. He threw a shoe at me earlier. Honestly, as much as I would love to skewer Gant, as much as I would absolutely love to, I don't think I've got anything in my court record yet that does it. Right? I've got the autopsy report, which says he died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m., but that doesn't conclusively prove when he died, right? That doesn't prove that he was killed at 4:20 or at 5:30 or 5:15 or something. So it's not concrete. The shoe doesn't do me anything. The switchblade switchblade knife doesn't tell me anything. Again, it's not concrete. The ID card does show that he was there, right? I think if I check this now, it's still blank, but it shows that he went in, but it doesn't show that he went in with Goodman. But yes, give him some I could give him an enamel shoe. Unfortunately, I don't have a concrete shoe. This isn't concrete proof. I've used it already. That shows that he spoke to Goodman, but not that he went in with Goodman. I don't think I've got proof yet. I have no proof yet. I'm sorry. It's no use showing evidence. I'm not even sure of it myself. No, Your Honor, at present I have no conclusive evidence. Humph! See, Udgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you. And he disappears into the ether. We'll see him later. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Objection! Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Losses Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. Yes, I agree. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to... Yeah, no shit, but now I guess the one brain cell belongs to Lost as Edgeworth. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room who has remained conspicuously silent despite the fact that this man over here at the defendant's podium is not technically representing her anymore. Mr. Lost as Edgeworth, who is this person? Yes, a very pretty lady. Humph. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth. Yes, she's the defendant. This is her trial. She's here. It's just she never does much. Like, defendants are always in the room during their trial. They just don't usually do much. She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Damon Gant once again. No. Well, Dawning said a very pretty lady. I suppose Lana fits the bill, yes. The defendant, Ms. Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February... Yeah, no, we already heard Angel's story. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Lost as Edgeworth. The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor, especially since, if you'll recall, from like 2 goddamn minutes ago, this was essentially my idea. Very well, the court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now Oh God. I don't know whose hold on this is. Do I want to know? Dawning, is this my line or your line? Or is it Larry buttsing in again? Oh, it's Deanne's line. Hold on. Huh? Hold on! Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this. But if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. So we're literally seeing him blackmail her right in front of us. Dot 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 exclamation mark.
That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
This isn't good.
Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Are we seriously, literally ignoring the fact that right fucking in front of us, Gant literally spoiled what his game was? He literally blackmailed her right in front of us. I have several witnesses, Your Honor. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. What are you doing here? This is the defendant's lobby. Larry would try to date Angel, but I don't think Angel would want to date Larry. I mean, okay, to be fair, yes, the judge is kind of a moron. Let's see what this moron has to say for himself, though. And yeah, he probably would think that he's the only boyfriend, despite obvious evidence to the contrary. Kind of like he did with that Cinder Block, or whatever the heck her name was. All that time ago. Anyway, what are you doing here?
Looks like we managed to stay in the...
Why is this a we thing now? I mean, not that I'm complaining, but why is this a we thing?
Oh, right, I made it a we thing by appealing to his ego.
Good job, me.
Yeah, thanks to your help, Lost as Edgeworth.
Hey, that chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Haha! I'm not a detective anymore.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Don't worry, I've already decided where I want to work now. At your...
Oh god, this is gonna be,
You know what?
You're hired.
Yes, he's no longer a detective, he's a defective.
But that's fine by me. I will gladly take Gumshoe in my office. Give us a hug, buddy.
My office. Sure, I'll take the place of that dot-knotted girl you used to work with.
What do you mean, Maya?
I would love to pay him better, Luna, but I don't make any money. Like, out of all of my defendants in this, Larry didn't pay me. Maya didn't pay me. I mean, she became my assistant, which was nice. I sure as hell didn't pay myself. Okay, Will Powers paid me. Losses Edgeworth paid me, and Lana Skye presumably will pay me. But, like, I'm still barely making ends meet. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How does he always get the upper hand?
It's not fair that he has the right to refuse to testify.
Humph, settle down, right?
Remember what the judge said.
But, Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. And yes, delicious meat.
Risks? What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true.
Now that's probably a Lana line. Dawning, you forget. In this universe, he was Phoenix Noodleman for several months, and he can, in fact, cook properly. Oh, hey, it's a goblin. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Yay, the return of the little science goblin. Emma, are you okay? Have a hug. And a little diamond snack. Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. Alright, talk to you later, Dien, and again, happy birthday to you. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. Yes, Science Goblin is good goblin. There are plenty of good goblins. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor. All 4 magical bullshit goblins are also good goblins. Well, I haven't met 4 magical bullshit goblins. I've only met 1. And she tries to steal everything that's not nailed down. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do, not to mention that unscrupulous red-white fellow, who somehow managed to find out about all this. That must be why she became so cold. She probably needs a hug, too. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery. But he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. The exclamation mark? I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end. It's about fucking time. Okay, so I actually did the math on this, right? As of before this episode started, I spent 29 hours and 50 minutes approximately on cases 1 through 4, right? Chapters 1 through 4. Before I started the stream today, I spent 23 hours, 52 minutes, again, approximately, like give or take some breaks and things like that, on this case alone. And that's not counting however much time it's taken me so far. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. To be continued. Well, more accurately, it might be time to take a quick break, but I am absolutely going to save my progress here. But yeah, no, Rise from the Ashes is absolutely ridiculous when it comes to how long this case takes. Anyway, I will take a quick break, get myself some more tea because my throat is starting to hurt again, but I will be right back, and we will finally get to the bottom of this case, and it looks like it is, in fact, Lana Skye's bottom that we have to get to. I also wouldn't mind getting to Angel Stars also, but we'll get there if we have to. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. What the heck is Ghost Trick, and why should I play it? Alright, let's end this charade. Possibly. Oh good, another game made by Ace Attorney. Wonderful. Anyway, now that I have a goblin on my side, I don't think I can lose anymore. Now then, will the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye, please take the stand? But always remember to put it back when you're done with it. Otherwise, that's stealing. Ms. Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Losses Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. ... Please provide the court with your testimony, Ms. Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Dawning, you better not be lying about that.
Of course, the truth.
Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. ... Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. And boy, has he got blackmail material on you, so this is probably not going to be easy. Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do... Bullshit! Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. As opposed to a lowercase offense. But Lana... If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Interesting. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. I will examine her every way I possibly can. Press. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Skye were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. Push. Or press. But think about it, Ms. Skye. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail, which technically there is a camera, so I may be able to get security footage for. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is useless as idle gossip, unless you have proof of that in the form of the security camera footage. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. How would you have moved the body? Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized by that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana. So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself. Yes.
Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? ... It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's...
What? Wait, what?
The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body.
I assume by victim she means Neil Marshall? What?
But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. ... exclamation mark. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright. But it'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like...
Then why the fuck did you need to fabricate the evidence? Now I'm even more confused than I was before.
Something like that. If that's so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife that you morons forgot to confiscate from him when he came into the police department. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body.
I don't fucking get why you would do that. It doesn't matter if Dark killed him with the prosecutor's knife or with his own fucking knife. Hold it. You planted the... Look. Hold on. Look, I know Phoenix was a little bit unnerved with shoving breaking off the tip of a knife and shoving it in someone's body. But Phoenix, do you really have the right to be that shocked by it when you literally shoved a bullet into someone's shoulder?
But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Lost as Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. Except it's been screwed in backwards for years. ... exclamation mark. My head isn't that bad. Why did you... why did you plant the knife, or... Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Ooh. Excuse me. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Ms. Skye moved the body. Yeah, no, why you put the knife in? Why you put the knife in the body makes sense. It was why you moved the body that doesn't. The pieces of that jar shattered.
The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Well, I think that there's nothing wrong about this. Absolutely nothing. Pieces of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. How and why? So, when you first found the body, the jar was already... Of course it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right... if you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. I see. ... What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar no shit, and this is what I was saying last week, where Neil couldn't have written that message on the jar after he'd been stabbed, because while he was stabbed, it was broken. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that. There must be a Yes, there is. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. The contradiction in point of fact is what I was saying. But I'm gonna press. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the quote-unquote murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence. She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions, except for make out with Angel Star. And yes, I know your sister is lying. There's no way she could have done it alone. I've got to get Lana to talk more. She's lying, then she's bound to... Yes. So there is, in fact, something that I need to... And I know exactly, or at least I suspect I know what it is. So... let's present the jar itself. I think. Yeah, it's got to be the jar itself. Let's present the jar. Ms. Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered. If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, the pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. Exclamation mark. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar wouldn't have been able to have been shattered yet. It must not have yet been broken before he died. Ah. Yes, you hadn't thought about that. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Well, well, well. Now you're starting to see that Gant fabricated everything. Order, order.
Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here.
Something critical.
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we are headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony, and we may continue trying to get to her bottom. ... She doesn't look too happy about that. I wouldn't blame her. Jar and message in blood.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood.
I am going to make her future wife very jealous, but you know what? She's a tsundere, so the more jealous she gets, the more likely she'll acknowledge her true feelings. So this is my one and only goal here.
The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all.
Except you didn't.
All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
That makes no sense. You mean you're the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer.
That's why she tried... Yes, that's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar.
Okay. Far be it from me to... Like, if we go here, right, present, and I actually check this jar, multiple times, they say it's hard to make out. There's a dark stain here, right? A darker... Like, they say this multiple times, that it's difficult to see these, even though the rest of us can very clearly see it, because there's a contrast between the gray and the brown and the red. So if she's saying it was dark and she noticed it, right? No, there's no way. No, it's not just her. I think the judge also said it, and even Phoenix says it. But I'm going to press, because again, I've learned better. So the jar was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as if it certainly looks as feeble as the defense is. Fuck you, Judge. But not as feeble as the judge's judgment. Good one, Phoenix.
You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out.
Why not?
So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust.
Well, that helps my case. Lana, you'd do that for me? Seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence. She still hasn't made it clear why! If she doesn't think Ema was the murderer, there's no reason to destroy any of the evidence. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. ... What else could I have done in that situation? Lana! I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. Except you very clearly didn't. Hold it. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. Except you didn't. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene. Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident, which again, in this case, is Lana Skye's bottom. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. ... Exclamation mark. I think I finally figured out the contradictions. Yes, I know what her what it is. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Yes. Once again present, and once again it's the jar, because you didn't get all the pieces. Objection! Ms. Skye, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Dun dun dun! Which makes perfect sense because Gant would have gone right after this guy, just like Marshall did. Chief Gant got there before you. Well, but couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? Objection! I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective, as she herself just testified, Your Honor. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Objection. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken.
Oh, that.
There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar.
Which I said last week, by the way. And I said it again and again before we got to this point in the game.
There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
Objection.
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? ... Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Nigga! No! Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Ow, my throat. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called?
Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that?
In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Ema killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his quote-unquote aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Ema, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Ms. Skye became the chief's puppet. And again, we will act this out with hand puppets if we have to, in order for you to get this point, Your Honor.
Ooh, that looked like it had to hurt. Don't bite yourself that hard, Lana.
No, I did it on my own.
Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Ema. You didn't kill anyone.
No, she really didn't. But you were meant to think she did. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. And yet you dated one. Although I suppose neither of you were attorneys at the time you were both in school. Foul lies. Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do... You do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Judge, when have I ever lied to you? Okay, I've presented false or stupid evidence before, and I've once again, and I've been ahead of you several times to the point where you've given me unjust penalties before. But when have I ever lied to you? ... Exclamation mark. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? No shit, Sherlock. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all.
Exclamation mark.
Lied to him when he took his... What do you mean when he took his order?
What do you mean, Wright?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? No! Ms. Skye, please testify once more.
But
If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
but I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Ms. Skye, if you will.
I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
Exclamation mark. That's easy for you to say.
This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Well, well. At long last, we're getting to her bottom. All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time. The actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought, she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. You're correct. You're absolutely correct. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the arm. No shit! We said this last time! That's literally what we said last time.
You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof.
Exclamation mark.
I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. Yes, I believe you did. And Mr. Wright, despite saying he would go through that book and look through it very thoroughly, only looked at one fucking page. Check the book of evidence. It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. You did. It's in a book. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? It's the book! It's in the book! Well, well, now I can finally do this, by the way. Now I can actually take a look at the cover here. And see, it's like a little duck at a desk with a detective's hat. Isn't that lovely? Alright, what's this say? Oh, wow, would you look at that? That is, in fact, an adorable cover. Hey, there's a picture here. No shit, Sherlock. Hey, hold on a second. Mm-hmm. So, I see a problem. I see a massive fucking problem. So, first of all, we now know where that piece of fabric came from. It's from Neil Marshall's vest. Second of all, what's not on there? Look at that photo. Right? There is blood everywhere. Especially in the area where that scrap of cloth would have been. But there's no blood there, just Emma's handprint. Holy fucking shit. Not on the cloth. Right? Not on that scrap of cloth that was in Gant's safe. And there should have been... Look at this picture, right? If that bit of cloth had been cut off... Well, first of all, that bit of cloth is gone already. But if that bit of cloth had been cut off after Neil was dead... Gant, you motherfucker. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Lana's picture inserted into the court record. Yes, Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest. Could that be? The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. Yes, indeed. Except it's already cut out at that point in time. How interesting. So that is conclusive proof that Gant got there first. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whose ever fingerprints those are must be the... bad news, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer and flush them down the toilet. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body in... Hold it! Hold it! Oh, look, it's this guy. Come now, Udgy! This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen, so I don't get to cross-examine her. Chief Gant, weren't you at lunch? What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. Even though I gave up my right to testify literally earlier today. Objection! I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. Duh. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Fucking hell. That got dark. Joe dark. Gick. So what? You think I'm worried? Yeah, he did screw himself over. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that is true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, righto? ... exclamation mark. Why, have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is that true, Mr. Wright? ... If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. Oh well. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Put me in front of the Board of Inquiries for all I don't give a damn. They can go shove it. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence that I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant. You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. So he literally just admitted to concealing evidence. Wonderful job, Gant. ... Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, righto. ... exclamation mark. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? He's not allowed to make any statements. He's not allowed to do this. He forfeited his right. But, on the other hand, you know what? Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. So I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to drink my tea, and I'm going to let him boil himself. I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So I will admit to everything except for blackmail. Well, no, including blackmail. Except for murder. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid.
So you assisted Ms. Skye?
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe?
But why?
For insurance, of course.
Insurance.
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck.
Actually, right now, I make you out to be a very big fool.
I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces.
Objection! But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too?
And he did! Ho, ho, ho! Once again, I am Santa Claus. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? I might be going down in a giant flame, in a giant fireball, but I am taking everyone down with me. That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. ...
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So, you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all, but it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself?
Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. That bastard really... Yes, no, he is literally trying to drag down a child just to avoid confessing to murder. He's confessing to just about everything else under the sun. He's almost certainly going to lose his job of chief of police at the very least as a result of this. But he is trying to drag down a child. Not just any child, a tiny goblin. And, as if that wasn't bad enough, he was blackmailing a pretty lady for several years. 2 years as a result of this incident. Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. A foolish move, righto. You should have shown it then, before it was too late. It's been a long battle. Yes, nobody messes with tiny goblins or pretty ladies on my watch, especially if those pretty ladies happen to be redheads. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Well, at this point, I absolutely will show evidence. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. It is, in fact, this piece of cloth that I couldn't present before. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes! At last, you finally brought it out into the open! There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather, there must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. Exclamation mark. You mean it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Ho, ho, ho! Christmas has come early. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Righto had all the time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You were the one who gave me the fucking fingerprint kit, buddy.
You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that?
Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything is proceeding as predicted. Yes! The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It is, in fact, Ema Skye. Ema? Ema Skye?
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Ema.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Ho ho! Oh, ho ho ho! You're really something, righto! You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Hold it!
How could you? You monster!
Ms. Skye, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Ms. Skye, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. ... You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. ... I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. ... What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Actually, a duck-tective does. Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? ...
Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Ema Skye, wasn't it? Not even close. I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. And I figured it out like as soon as I saw Lana's photo. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Ta-da! And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Ms. Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. No shit! And yes, it contradicts the... Hey, if you guys wanted me to do that, there is the take that option, but none of you used it. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured, blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth does not have a single drop of blood on it. Well, well, well. Wait, there's no blood on it. Congratulations, game, you caught up to me again. We're not screwing this up. It's saving my tiny goblin a clock. Fair enough, Dawning. Since Ema Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No! This is nonsense! Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Ms. Lana Skye, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor sword? Hug!
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it.
Dot dot dot! Remember what you admitted only moments ago. That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over. Oh god, and it's about fucking time. Objection! Heh! Oh ho 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 ho! That was close, righto. You almost had me. Exclamation mark. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy. Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? ... Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. That's not fair. Hoo-hoo-hoo! Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh is on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Lost as Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. However, may I remind you, Mr. Wright is not a prosecutor. He is a defense attorney, so it could theoretically be used to defend his client. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright, ... It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has... Phoenix, when the fuck do you ever have a plan? Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I admit I refused to present it at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal. For once in his life, he actually did it. Well, I guess when it comes to saving goblins, he might have a plan. So the evidence is illegal. Objection. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Udgy, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. Objection. There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, do so. Well, you see, I happen to have this little book here. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. I am literally throwing the book at him. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Even if it did hurt my head, and then my foot. And then my head again. I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Ema Skye's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book, the second rule of evidence law. ... Exclamation mark! Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Objection. Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. ... Exclamation mark! You, yourself, confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes! No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant, the killer, was you. Nymph! Whew, that took a lot of lung power. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Yes, I did in fact break him. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr and then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman. So now he's actually going to admit to killing Goodman too, which I actually need him to do. Because, okay, technically we resolved who killed Neil Marshall and forged evidence, yada yada yada, but we still technically hadn't gotten around to who killed Goodman yet. I knew it was going to happen, mind you, but... Yes, that is correct!
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then, all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you
please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
"It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall."
Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
Then you put the body in my car.
I'm sorry. I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Grr.
Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Ms. Skye involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker.
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take.
So you left the jar fragments and the glove.
Yeah! It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer.
No shit, Herlock.
To be fair, though, you got away with one crime for 2 years. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that...
Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we are the same. Oh, good. He's going with a we're not so different, you and I approach. Wonderful. I love these speeches. Do carry on.
Exclamation mark.
One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go at it alone. ... Yes, he is going all in on the villain monologue, of course. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. And by goodbye, I mean I'm going to be executed for 2 murders. Hooray! Oh, Udgy? What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date and the swimming date. Sorry, old friend. ...
I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. ... I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Not that they're going to do me any good once I'm dead. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. Well, you probably can, because they're both a couple of nincompoops, but I don't give a shit, because I'm a dead man anyway. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
There are 2 things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Ms. Skye, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today.
Yes, what new beginning indeed. I have no idea.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have finally been answered. I'm sorry, Ms. Skye. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. ... My. What high standards you have for a rookie. ... Exclamation mark. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top.
Oh my god, she smiled.
I'm so happy. That is reward enough for all this hard work that I've had to do. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Ms. Skye. And to you too, Mr. Lost as Edgeworth. ... Exclamation mark. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. Humph, it was nothing. Because I'm too much of an arrogant jackass to admit that I've suffered at all. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided...
Are you fucking kidding me? Why the hell are you giving him credit for my hard work? This fucking game really is covering up for Lost as Edgeworth.
You rose above it all and guided Mr. Right to victory. You've done well, Mr. Loster Edgeworth. Stop it! I only did my job! In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Ms. Skye. Yes, Your Honor? You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is, you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial...
No fucking shit, Judge! No fucking shit! This trial has gone on far too long. Even the game admits it fucked up making a trial this long. This trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye, not guilty. Hooray! Long fought and hard victory. That is all. This court is adjourned. Oh, God. At long last, it's finally over. Poor little goblin. Emma. ... Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Lost as Edgeworth. ... exclamation mark. Are we gonna go through this all over again? We just saw all of this. You know, I did my best too. Yes, you did, little science goblin, and you were very helpful. Thank you very much. You get another hug and a diamond snack. But Lana didn't say a single word to me. Oh, well that sucks. Yeah, no, you definitely need another hug and another diamond snack. Hey, hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. ... Oh, guess I am. I'll, come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while on duty? And to top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Hey, look, it's Lana. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. And we'll just kinda ignore those two guards over there. The bailiffs. We'll kind of ignore them and pretend they don't exist. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago. ... exclamation mark. Was the first time in my life I ever panicked. was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the quote-unquote truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. ... I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis? I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course! You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. Emma! Aww. A hug. Always a hug for the goblins. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Dawning, do we meet her again someday? I would like to think so. I would like to hope so. Well, that's unfortunate. I would love to see Lana again someday. Isn't that right, Lost as Edgeworth? Lost as Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where the hell was he hiding? Where? Yeah, that is a good question. Where was he hiding and why was he hiding? And why does he look so damn fucking mad? I just came to say, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Losses Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. See you later, loser. Mr. Losses Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. ... Exclamation mark. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. ... The villain monologue may have actually really gotten to him. Yeah, again, Gant pulled the whole, we're not so different, you and I, thing, and I think this guy is falling for it, because he's an idiot. ... It's too late for me. ... Exclamation mark. No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Lost as Edgeworth.
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
We are not so different, you and okay. You despise criminals, I can feel it. You and me, we're the same!
Exclamation mark.
One day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go at it alone.
I do despise criminals. I planned to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now.
But lost is Edgeworth.
Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. After all, he was once a very respectable detective. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor.
Hey, Skye, I'll take over his job if you want. I would make an excellent prosecutor. Oh, wait, I don't think you're the chief prosecutor anymore. You know what? There are multiple positions in the prosecutor's office available. I'm going to go apply.
Or maybe I should go back to being a noodleman. Do I go the prosecutor route, or do I go back to being a noodleman?
That's a good question. I'll ponder it for a moment.
That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Lost is Edgeworth. Don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma. ... Exclamation mark. Were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. Yes, they were. But they both made the same mistake. ... You said, in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. ... Exclamation mark.
Damn it, the boat shop got condemned while I spent the week on this case. But what about Polly? What happened to Polly? ...
Exclamation mark. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered.
Oh, Polly's fine. She moved into the prosecutor's office. Good! Then I definitely want to become a prosecutor now.
Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
No. Huh? What? Oh, good. Yeah. What is this? A pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh? Something that neither Lost as Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. By the way, did we ever actually put Damon Gant's name? No, we did not.
I mean, the evidence, like, this drawing was something Edgeworth never would have discovered on his own because he can't flip over a piece of fucking paper. This evidence was something I couldn't find on my own because I can't look through a fucking book properly. Yes, flipping over a piece of paper or actually looking through an entire fucking book are the most powerful skills in this game. Present my attorney's badge. Dot dot dot. That might mean something to you, but I don't see how it had anything to do with our partnership. Huh? Mr. Wright, it seems you still have a lot to learn as well. I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence. Dot dot dot. It's time for me to go. Yes, only Mia Fey is capable of both. Mr. Lost Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. I think the picture probably was the right evidence, but oh well. Oh, the answer was in fact the evidence list. That makes sense. I had one half, he had the other half. So long. Lost as Edgeworth, what will you do now? Dot dot dot. Well, whatever you do, just remember. You can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow, or you can jump out of a window. Who knows? In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Lost as Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court, but I'll be the prosecutor this time. Dot dot dot. Farewell. I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. Seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Oh, scientific investigation, and it's got the little duck detective on the cover as well. That's adorable. This is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. Aw. One more adorable Lana smile, and we go. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. I don't know why we never see Lana again. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. To become a noodleman. The best noodleman in the history of the noodleman. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Why is Noodleman out of the question? I want Noodleman to be to be allowed. The shop gotcha. I mean, I can just use the Fay & Co. law offices as the new noodle shop. I think that'll work. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who'll be footing the bill. What? What, you think I could afford that with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You think I ever get paid, Gumshoe? Well, okay, Lana is worth it. Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. ... Why is it that I can never say no to goblins? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. Don't spend your allowance on this, kid. I'll take care of it. Objection? Okay, so I guess it's the credits now. Wait, what do you mean we're not converting it to an anything agency yet? I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Good! I'm sad that they don't put you in any future games. But I want to make it a noodle shop. Yikes! I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show. You can't shake me off that easily. So he continues to be a detective. Very good. But yes, this is in fact the end of Phoenix Wright, and probably once again the beginning of Phoenix Noodleman. I really shouldn't have come out of retirement for this case. Hey, my new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can't you believe it? I've been demoted to security guard. My partners keep keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm going to make detective. Yes, sir, then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe. Oy. Hey, it's the Blue Badger. My friend. Hello. Look at that thing dancing around. Who killed the Blue Badger? That is the next mystery we must investigate. Except I'm just a noodleman now, not a defense attorney. I'll tell you what, I'll give my badge to Lana, then she can become a defense attorney. It won't be prosecuting, but... Oh, and he's in jail too. What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a steak lunch partner? Ms. Starr managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? Fucking Christ, how many people ended up in jail as a result of this? Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. Aww! As a farewell gift, I put a new menu on the meal on the menu, the right way of lunch. Top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer's as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Ah, you want me to eat the sweet bottom. I see. Won't come out of retirement again to save the magic goblin for... What magic goblin? There is no magic goblin. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. What did I say? Let's see. What was his name again? Mr. Left. Yes, Mr. Left. I'm left-handed. He said he's been doing something or other for how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I better be... no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. That's what his chair looks like. That's a nice-looking chair. Anyway, this wraps things up very nicely. There are no more murders, nothing more to solve. Perhaps it truly is time. Oh, hey, it is Maya. Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Or a spirit tall. Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming! Well, see you around, Nick. See, she's gonna be there for a while. Ergo, no more murders to solve. What the heck is Pearly? Pearly? I don't know. I don't know who any of this is. Uh-oh. Mr. Lost is Edgeworth. Mr. Lost is Edgeworth. I brought you your tea. ... Question mark. What's going on? Uh-oh, there's a note. Yes, there's Superman. He found something, but I don't know what he found. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be all right. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. The note probably... I mean, he just resigned, I'm sure. Oh, hey. I can investigate the scientific investigation book. Look at that little duck. And she probably put another photo in it. Yes! Open the book. Oh, now that's a nice looking photo. Look at that, that's adorable. A pretty lady and a little goblin. Capcom. Well, I'm sure that note from Lost is Edgeworth had no relevance whatsoever. So I guess that's it. Wow. That is, I think, the end of Ace Attorney. Fucking Christ, this was a long case. I am curious about what Lost is Edgeworth's note said. But like I said, it probably was his completed letter of resignation. Because don't forget, the one that he crumpled up and threw away was, it was probably just a draft. So this was his completed letter of resignation. He is not going to be in any further games as a prosecutor, except if there are some that are in the past, which I think somebody told me there was. But that's it. I am Ace Attorney'd out. This was absolutely, thoroughly exhausting, and I don't know if I can do this anymore. It's like all of the complicated and convoluted bullshit and the hoops you have to jump through, and the fact that it is so goddamned structured. Right? Like, if I come to a conclusion and I realize something fairly quickly, right? Like the whole thing where it had to have been Marshall in the room and in the video and all of that. And I feel like there's an opportune time to present that as evidence, and the game says, no, you absolutely have to go. Like, these games are far, and someone, it might have been Midori, it might have been Goose, it might have been Dawning, it might have been all three of them. But people told me that these games were incredibly, and like, there were points in time where you'd think that two pieces of evidence could work, but no, it had to be specifically one. It's it's way too rigid in that regard. Like, there is a very, very, very specific direction that it wants you to go in. And it's not open to going in, it's not open to you jumping the gun and coming to a conclusion that you know is there. And in some cases, like that cloth, right? Like, when I realized that cloth was problematic because of all the blood on Neil Marshall, like, okay, it makes sense that you don't do that right away. Because, again, you can't just present, you've got to wait for the right moment to do that. But again, the point like, most specifically, when Neil Marshall said something to the effect of, I wasn't in that room and you can't prove otherwise, right? I wasn't in the evidence room that day and you can't prove otherwise. And I had the fucking video and tried to show it to the judge, right? That would have been an appropriate time to let the video be presented. It absolutely would have. But no, the game wanted you to press on that statement and then get to a point where they realize, where everyone else caught up to you and realized that the video was there. But again, so again, I'm not complaining that, okay, I came to the conclusion about the cloth much sooner than the game wanted me to. Because that's part of the whole intricate plot. You had to get Damon Gant to skewer himself. That I get. But just the little intricate thing where, like, 2 seconds later it would get to the point where, oh yeah, by the way, this video that I've been trying to present to the judge for the last 5 hours, and he's been giving me penalty after penalty for, was actually what we needed the whole fucking time. That's what I'm complaining about. But I really don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm exhausted. And it's just, this last case had so many fucking twists and turns. And it took so damn long. Like, it's almost 11 p.m. Let's say I ended about 10:45 with the actual case. Right? Add that to almost 24 hours that I'd already spent on this case. That's, over 3 more. That's 27, 28 some odd hours that I spent on this one case, when everything else combined was 29, maybe almost 30 hours. Cases 1 through 4. I just, oof. So yeah, I'm even trying to think about how they could have shortened this down a lot. Here's the other thing that I will point out, right? Okay, there's a couple of things that I will point out with regards to this. Number one is any character that was kind of introduced in these particular games, or sorry, this particular case, which was added in at the end of this and wasn't part of the original release, I kind of knew something was going to happen where you wouldn't be able to see them in a future game. Right, so I knew even if we got Lana Skye off for murder, something was going to happen where you probably weren't going to see her again, that had to explain why the chief prosecutor, Lana Skye, didn't show up in future games. Or why Chief of Police Damon Gant didn't show up in future games. Or why Detective Jake Marshall didn't show up in future games. So, it was kind of an almost a foregone conclusion to me. And yes, I know, I pushed the theory that Lost as Edgeworth was the murderer the whole time. To be fair, I feel like that would have been a much more satisfying ending than what we currently got. But I kind of knew from the beginning it was going to be one of the new characters, so either like Jake Marshall or Angel Starr or Damon, again, and Marshall and Angel had no reason to do any of that, so almost from the beginning, I kind of figured it was going to be Gant. But I will miss Lana. I will miss Angel. I won't miss Phoenix, though. He's an idiot. I absolutely will not miss Lost as Edgeworth. He was a pompous jackass right up until the end. And I'm glad he quit as a prosecutor, and I hope to never see him again. And in point of fact, I can make sure I never see him again by never playing Ace Attorney again. I'm sorry, what do you mean quit with all those quotation marks? That was his letter of resignation that... Well, first of all, how do I find out what that said? Like, they weren't very clear about what that note said. Is there a way I can find out what it is? They will tell you in 2-3. Well, I can't wait that long. I refuse to wait that long. So as far as I'm concerned, he just resigned. And I will never see him again. Ugh. But anyway, I do know that it is a bit earlier than I would normally end for the evening. However, I'm not going to sit here and pontificate on this case or on this game for half an hour, especially since my throat's still a little scratchy and fairly tired. I do thank all of you for sitting through this nonsense with me. It was, in fact, a major slog. And again, I'm trying to figure out how they could have cut some corners in this. But really, the way that they designed this case... Okay, maybe the whole bit about the second incident in the police, in the evidence room could have been kind of cut out. I don't know if Jake Marshall needed to break in. I don't know if Jake Marshall needed to break into the evidence room or anything like that. And we could have just found... But to be fair, that was the only reason that we got to the evidence room to begin with, and I don't know. Like, again, it's difficult for me to figure out how they could have made it any shorter. Given that we needed to get from point A to point B to point C to point D to point Q. I don't know. Regardless, I don't think anybody in the chat is even paying attention to what I'm saying at this point, so I probably might as well just end things off here. In this particular case, though, let's see. Just as a reminder, I guess I should just as a reminder, I am not going to be streaming Wednesday of this week because it is a Jewish holiday, and I will not be streaming at all next week on this channel because I have a business trip. So my next stream here is going to be Monday the 24th, and I'm not sure what I will be streaming because I just want to go retire as a defense attorney and become a humble noodleman again. And if I have to convert the Fay & Co. law offices to a noodle shop, then so be it. But normally, you can catch me here on this channel So if you were watching this on YouTube, you can normally catch me here on my Twitch channel. I usually go live Monday evenings and Wednesday evenings at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Borscht is not noodles, it's beets. Anyway, if you were watching this on my Twitch channel, and you only caught part of the stream, you can watch the entire content of the VOD, which I will upload to my YouTube channel over there. You can also catch myself and Dawning Winds, along with other good streamers, on the Bulba Garden Twitch channel there. I will still be streaming there on Sunday, right? So I will still be streaming on Sunday the 16th. I'm just flying out on a business trip on Monday the 17th and won't be back until late Wednesday evening. So timing sucks for my streams, but you can still catch me on the Bulba Garden channel, next Sunday, this upcoming Sunday. You can also catch people like the Caps fan on that channel as well. He was not here this evening, but that is where you can find Caps. And DN was here earlier. It was her birthday, although now in her time zone. Now in her time zone, it is not her birthday anymore, but you can always catch her there. And I will be rating the Caps fan now. Thank you for letting me know that he is live. But before I do that, of course, I will remind you all that, as always, I am Maniacal Engineer, and I'm never going to give you up, never going to let you down. Thank you all for watching, and God bless this mess. Dawning, I do hope you feel better soon.